Hello, everyone, and welcome to Empowered by the Word. My name is Musa. Today, we'll be speaking about time. So, in the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 1, we see God creating the heavens and the earth. Chapter 1, verse 26, we see God creating man in his image. God is a spirit, so his image is a spirit. You are a spirit. Chapter 2, we see God forming, man from the dust of the earth, forming the body, and then placing the man in the body. The body is formed from the earth. So you live in earth and on earth. That's why when you read in Matthew 6 verse 10, this is when Jesus was teaching his disciples how to pray after they've asked him. He says, "In this manner therefore pray, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven." I like it in King James the way I've read it. It says in earth, meaning the will of God, the as it is in heaven, starts in us, start in the earth, in the body, where our spirit is, where the spirit man is, so that it can impact the earth that the man lives on. So it starts with in us, right? When we read in Genesis 8 verse 22, the Bible says, "While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease." So seed time and harvest shall not cease as long as the earth remains. The earth being the earth you live on, and the earth that you live in, which is your body. So as long as you are in the body and there's still a breath of life in you, seed time will always be there. It means you cannot, I like this passage because it says seed time and harvest. You cannot have a harvest when there was no work put in during seed time. If there was no seed, there is no harvest. So seed time could be, the time invested in your studies. When you are studying to get a qualification, it's a hard time, it's not easy, but you put in the time, you study, and at the end you get your harvest will be a degree and good opportunities for employment out there when you are done. Time spent on personal development, reading a book or increasing your knowledge, enrolling on a leadership course or whatever course that will increase your knowledge and therefore add to your value. That is seed time, because this will add value. The world needs valuable people. They need people who will add value in their lives. So that is seed time. In Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 to 2, the Bible says, "To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the earth, a time to be born and a time to die, time to plant and a time to pluck out." So like we said, you will pluck out, you will only harvest that which you have planted. So the Bible says there is time, there's a time to be born and a time to die. So when God created man in Genesis chapter 1 verse 26 to 29, we see that God created man, and then God gave man the mandate. He said, "Be fruitful, subdue the earth, have dominion over it." So in each and every one of us, God has placed a purpose that aligns to that mandate of being fruitful and multiplying. But that need to be fulfilled within this period, the time you were born and the time you die. So God has given us, each and every one of us, rich or poor, young and old, God has given us, all of us, time. We say time is money sometimes, and I want to look at the two terms. Time, you don't have control over. That is what God gives you, but you need to steward it. You need to be a good steward of the time that God has given you. Money, God has given you the power, has given you the brains to be able to go out there and make money. You can put or have a savings account to save money to use at a later stage when you retire or whenever. But you can never say, I have a savings account for time. You cannot say, I'm putting away these 5 years, I'm going to use them at the later stage. You do not have power over that. You do not have authority over that. Let me tell you that every morning when you wake up, every day of your life, every day that you have been alive, God has been faithful that every day He deposits into your life 86,400 seconds every day without fail. So you need to ask yourself, how many of those seconds that God has put in you, is depositing in your life every day, how many of those seconds did you spend with God trying to find out what is your unique purpose that aligns with the mandate of being fruitful, of subduing the earth and having dominion? How many of those seconds did you spend trying to find that purpose, that aligns with that mandate? How many of those seconds, did you spend on social media? How many of those seconds did you spend, entertaining yourself by going out, having fun and all of that, which is not wrong, but I want to understand how many of the seconds that God gave us do we spend doing what? Is it serving purpose? Is it leading us into a purpose that God has set for us? How many of those seconds did we spend worrying about things that, we can't change? How many of those seconds did we spend criticizing people around us in our lives? How many of those seconds did we spend, enriching our lives and increasing our value? Let me tell you something. Time does not respect your emotions or your feelings. It doesn't care how you feel. It continues. You could lose a loved one today, and I'm not being insensitive. I lost my mom about 13 years ago, and I've learned that, time will not wait for you. The day my brother phoned me and said, Musa, mom is no more, I'm telling you, it felt like my life stopped for 5 years. I was stuck in that moment. But after 5 years, you realize that no, time has moved on. When my brother phoned me and said she has passed on, time continued. When we were preparing for burial and we're mourning and everyone was just crying and everything that was happening, time continued. Time did not, the hour didn't say, hey, minutes, speak to seconds there, let's hold off a bit. And you take it easy. Musa is still mourning. Musa is still hurt. Maybe someone broke your heart. Time did not wait. Time continued. So you are allowed to take that time, to rest, to mourn or to be sad about it, but you're not allowed to remain there, because you need to rise up and fulfill that purpose that God has put in your life, because time is limited. You may be asking yourself, how much time do we have? My answer would be, as long as the earth remains. As long as the earth remains, as long as this sphere that we live on remains, as long as the earth that you live in remains. The trick is, we don't know when earth will not remain, will end. We don't know when the earth that we live in will end. Also, we don't know when the earth that you live in, which is your body, will expire and die and go back to where it belongs, on the earth. We don't know. So the time to start in the purpose, to fulfill the mandate that God has given you, is between a second ago and a second to come, which is now. You need to start now. Now you may ask yourself, maybe I'm old and I've wasted a lot of time. Many years have gone by. Joel 2 verse 25, the Bible says, so I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten, the crawling locust, the consuming locust, and the chewing locust, my great army which I sent among you. So you may ask yourself, God will restore the years. You may ask yourself, how is God going to reverse the time? No, certainly not. God cannot reverse the time, but God can put you in a place that you were supposed to be had you not lost those years. But this is to the glory of God, and it will only work when you take the time to spend time with Him, to find that purpose, that God has put in your life that aligns with the mandate that we were given in Genesis. In that way, God will be glorified through your life and through your story. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.